Drinking wouldn't have allowed me to explore this other area of me and kind of was keeping me at this level. Like drinking, when you're drinking a lot, never elevates you. It never progresses you forward. All it does is just keep you here. Keeps you here. You know, you never have heard anybody ever say that I am really glad I started drinking again. Nobody's ever said that because there's no reason to be glad if you've stopped and you've seen the positive aspects that drinking has made towards your life being improved in every way, shape, or form. It's like there's no reason to look back, and that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm really not even like, oh, I'm 100 days sober. I hope I can make it 100 more. I'm almost like drinking isn't even a thing for me anymore. I don't drink, and life has gotten so much better without drinking in every way. So I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter about being sober. I know a lot of people always ask me questions about it. So I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to form a place where people can get together and talk about issues with addiction. It doesn't have to be limited to alcohol. It can be any other addiction. I know there's every addiction out there. And even if you're having a hard time in life with depression, if you're having a hard time in life with your family, with work, anything, I know that everybody needs somebody to talk to, and not everybody has somebody to talk to. So I'm going to use Ruin Your Day as a platform for that. Every week on Wednesdays, I haven't decided a time yet, probably around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to have Ruin Your Day live for an hour. And basically what's going to be happening is the chat is going to be live, and that's going to be used as the floor for everybody to talk. I might be on a video feed answering questions to the chat. I might pull up some music that Ruin Your Day made to play. I might play some video in the background. It's going to be sort of a free-form vehicle type of feed. There's not going to be really a set thing that we're doing. The only thing that I want to go on is I want people to feel like it's a safe place to come into and talk and vent, talk to other people, maybe give advice. I'll be in there if anybody wants to ask any questions about being sober. I can give whatever advice I can for that. And yeah, essentially, I just think there needs to be a place like that. I think AA works really well for a lot of people because it's a community. It's a strong-knit community. You have a sponsor that holds you accountable for not drinking. You have other people that are going through the same thing as you. You realize there's a whole world out there of people that just don't drink. And that's rare these days, honestly. So I want there to be a place like that on Ruin Your Day that's doesn't have to be just limited to alcohol. It could be anything. You know, like my parents went through some heart problems this year, and that really devastated me. So, you know, I needed somebody to talk to about that. My ex-girlfriend's dog that I really love got cancer. My close friend just had cancer. So it's been tough for me as well this year, and I'm really thankful that I've had Ruin Your Day to talk to you guys about battle rap and forget about the troubles in my life, but I want to give back, and I want to create a platform where we can all come together and sort of be each other's shoulder to lean on every now and then. So just wanted to make this video to talk about me getting sober, my experience with it. Honestly, to wrap this up, being sober is like probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Me breaking up with my ex-girlfriend that I love to this day has been the best thing that's ever happened to me too as well. It's really like jump-started me to make big improvements in my life that I'm really proud of. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, the first question you need to ask for yourself if you're thinking that you might have a drug problem, alcohol problem, any sort of problem is, if I'm asking myself if I have a problem, I might have a problem. Do you want to take the next step to solving it? Do you want to get clean? Do you want to get sober? And all I can say is being sober is amazing. It's great. I would never trade it for anything. It works really well for me. Other people can drink responsibly. I'm not one of those people. I can't drink responsibly at all. So, yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for helping me through my year of sobriety. You guys really made a huge difference in my life. I want to thank everybody out there that supported Ruin Your Day, all the patrons, all the people that did a watch episode, all the guests, all the people that tuned in for watch, everybody that bought merch, everybody that bought music. It means the world to me. So thank you guys.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Ruin an Hour, a safe place to talk about depression, addiction, sobriety, anxiety, anything in life that you're dealing with that you don't have a place to talk about it in your everyday life. This is a safe place for you to talk about absolutely anything. I'm Avocado. I run this channel, if you guys don't know, and I'm sober. I've been sober for a little over a year at this point. I was an alcoholic, and I suffered from some other addictions as well. So I've been sober from them for quite a while. How you guys doing today? Today is kind of a special episode because, we've been doing this for about a month. And usually when we do this, I kind of talk about my story. And then we've had Lush on, my friend Nick, and he talked about his addictions as well. But today I want to talk about to somebody in the chat. Brock, if you want to step up and share your story about what happened to you recently, I think it's really important for us to talk about this because it's something that's very, very big that happened to him. And so I think today we're going to kind of just address the chat for a while. I'll kind of pop in and out talking, giving my input here and there. But yeah, I think that's how the show today is going to go. It's probably going to run a little bit over an hour, just to let you guys know. But feel free to ask me any questions. I'll answer them. You don't feel like you're missing out on anything being sober? Absolutely not. I feel like I was missing out on everything drinking all my life, to be honest with you. Ever since I stopped drinking, I really have appreciated absolutely everything that I felt like I was missing out when I was drinking. My life improved in every way, shape, and form when I quit drinking. Literally every single day that goes by, I literally always think, thank God I don't drink anymore. Like today I was driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, and there was a place that I used to work at there, and I remember being really hungover one time when I went to work there, so hungover that I wanted to go home, and I tried to throw up in the restroom. And I remember just being like, man, I'm so grateful that I don't get to experience hangovers anymore. And I'm so grateful I don't drink so irresponsibly to where I'm getting hungover at work and having my work be jeopardized because I was drunk the night before. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's Brock in the chat. I haven't seen him in the chat. Santa Monica Boulevard. Santa Monica Express. It was actually right by there, actually. It was the place I used to work was by that donut time. Chris, I'm sorry to hear about your divorce, man, but congrats on taking that energy and applying it to yourself and to self-improvement of starting college. That's wonderful, man. That's really cool. How often was I drinking? I was drinking every day. I definitely would have a beer every single day. Near the end of it, before me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, I was drinking a lot. I was drinking I would go out to lunch at my work, and there was this Mexican restaurant there, and I would have 2 margaritas at lunch, and they were big too. They were huge. And then I was treating watch as an excuse to get drunk. I would be like, oh, thank God I watched tonight. I can party with my friends and get wasted and then crash on the couch, And I was just treating it too much like it was my excuse to get really wasted. So I was drinking a lot. Every single weekend I would get drunk. That was a given. And whenever I got drunk, I would usually black out too. I wouldn't remember a good deal of the time I was I was drinking, and it got so bad to like where like my ex-girlfriend didn't even want to hang out with me. Like I'd be like, hey, let's go hang out with my friend and watch the soccer game, and she'd just be like, I don't want to be around you. It's pretty horrible. So yeah, it got to the point where people didn't want to be around me. So that's when I knew, we broke up, and that's when I knew I had to make a lifestyle change, and I did that. Okay, Brock, you spoke up top. I have 18 months clean and have not found anything this hard the whole time I've been clean. So one of my things I wanted to discuss was if anyone had any healthy coping mechanisms. He was able to share interests in Ruin Your Hour because he was a huge Battle fan. He didn't know this community fought issues too. Yeah, so if anybody has any healthy coping mechanisms for stuff, Brock, did you say what happened yet? I don't want to like put you out there unless you actually said what happened. Let's see, I'm going to scroll up just to see. Okay, here we go. So Brock shared this. I'm just going to read this out loud so anybody that's coming to the chat now can see. So I spoke to Kyle last night and reached out. My little brother was 25 years old and died last night to an overdose of fentanyl and a fatal blow to the head. So Brock has been a member of the Ruin Your Day community for a while now. He's been in watches, and he's been in here especially. And he reached out to me about this recently when this happened. And he just asked if anybody has any good coping mechanisms for something like that, for anybody that's experienced trauma such as that. Amy says, coping mechanism. It's so easy for people to say they traded one addiction for another, like hitting the gym instead of drinking, but it's not the same for everybody. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that. I mean, I'm somebody that says that to a T. I say that I go to the gym instead of drink, but it doesn't work for everybody. You're right. I think what Brock might be looking for is how do you deal with something traumatic like his little brother passing away, and how do you navigate through those feelings? Be around your friends and family. That's good advice. Find something you love to do, and do this will force you to put all your energy into something positive. I think also an important thing too, also, Brock, is to not try to push the grief out right now, not try to just get rid of it. And if you feel sad, allow yourself to feel sad, be kind to yourself. Like, your sadness is natural, and like grief is natural, especially for what happened to you. So trying to like replace it with a positive thought is not possible, and it's also going to be detrimental to you because you're just going to be bottling up emotions, and that's not good when you're bottling stuff up, because it will come out in another way, and usually that's a toxic way. So whatever you're feeling now, I would say allow yourself to feel it, navigate those feelings, know what they are, like to the best of your ability. And yeah, being around friends and family is really important as well. I'm sure your family is there for you guys in this this event. Brock, just to let you know, I'm going to bounce in and out of answering questions and also addressing what we were talking about. Hopefully everybody can continue the conversation in the chat about how to help you through this time. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for the platform. I've been drinking since I was 19 years old. I have a great paying job, but it also causes me to drink a lot. So many personality, it got worse. And when I was 25, I'm going to continue this J Quest. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying CBD has worked miracles for anxiety and depression. To be honest, I haven't heard anything bad about CBD at all. So I definitely would recommend it to people that are dealing with anxiety, especially, and depression. Yeah, I would also echo what EMA Beat says. That's mad heavy, far too early to shake. However, family, if there is anything, is helpful. Being alone is isolating yourself may not be the best thing. Yeah, I agree, and I will say that, Brock, like, being alone is definitely not good for you at this stage. Unless you're trying to like meditate and you feel comfortable being by yourself, I think that is good, but be careful to not isolate yourself because you tend to do that when you're going through something. And if anything, sometimes you get in like this sort of like broken record type of thinking about something where it's like you're not really working on anything, you're just thinking the same thing over and over again. And isolation is actually not a good thing as a whole, unless you're doing something like meditating or like really introspectively thinking about yourself and not just being sad. So there's different ways that I think being alone can help, but I definitely would say at this point, I think being around the people that are sharing your grief is really important. Being around your family and friends at this stage would be of the utmost importance. Justin, thank you. Appreciate that, dog. Oh, good music, yeah. That's a good suggestion as well. Hey Brock, you should post your Twitter in here so people will know where to DM you. Enigmatic Ecstasy says isolating is definitely not good, but I can't get out of it. Been getting worse and worse for the last 4 to 5 years. And then a few months ago, the last friend I still talk to died. Suggestions. I would say, like, you know that the self-isolation thing is not working for yourself. So trying to go to more social things. I would say you're obviously on this channel because you're a battle rap fan. Go to a battle, man. Like, honestly, I think people really underappreciate how much the battle rap community is like a big family. And if you go to a battle event and talk to anybody about battle rap, they're going to be excited to talk to you about battle rap because very few people know about battle rap. And then when you go to an event where everybody's a super fan, they're going to be like, of course I'll talk to you. Especially URL events. I found at URL events, people like love to talk about battles. Like, it's like almost like extreme fandom. So that could be a good social outlet for you. I would say, you know, coming in these chats. Also, another thing, if you're isolating yourself and tending to just be in your apartment a lot, is to leave your apartment and go on a walk, go somewhere, go to a park. Because once you start seeing people, I feel like in like the public, the more you're gonna want to interact with them. That's at least been my experience when I've just been like super sad about something and I've just like wanted to like go to sleep like mad early and just sleep because I'm like super depressed. Like, I feel like just getting out of the house, just going on a walk around the block really helps. We'll up. We'll upload the Lush one, Ruin Your Hour. It's a great one. No, I'm not doing any. All these Ruin Your Hours are staying private. So after they're live, I'm not making them public, just because I feel like they're better like this. They're better as something that happens once and then that's it. We'll move on to the next week. All right, let's see. I've got anxiety, depression tendencies, and serious low self-esteem and confidence issues. I'm a heavy weed smoker and would love to control it or kick it. I think it's really going to destroy me. So, ManBash05, you think weed is going to kill you, or do you think your anxiety and depression is going to kill you? Brock, love you, man. Hopefully this is like helpful for you right now. I feel like I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I'm hoping the chat is talking to you and keeping you on track. Yeah, MJ, I'll echo what you said. I highly recommend CBD for anybody that's dealing with anxiety and depression. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on any of these issues I'm talking about, by the way. I have very little experience with anxiety and depression as well. I've been around people that had it, but I didn't understand it at the time, and I definitely was very ignorant about it. So I would love to learn more about both of those issues. C.A. Lowe actually suggested a book I should read, which I would love to pick up. If you want to drop the name of the book in here, I would love to do that. And Calamari, appreciate that. And so I'm not saying I'm an expert on either of those things, and I'm kind of in here to learn with you guys about them as well. All right, coping mechanisms. There's a book called Feeling Good by Dr. David Burns, a professor. He helped develop cognitive therapy, and there's an exercise in it if you can do. Sounds dope. Andrea speaks. It sounds corny, but for anxiety and depression, you have to take hold of your thoughts, and you have to watch the words you speak. Speak more positive things about yourself. It works over time. I know these are every Wednesday, but if they're a set time for them, I like to catch each one if they aren't going public. Yeah, they're every Wednesday at 5 p.m., same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll go live no matter what. If I'm in fucking some other country, I'll go live. The weed isn't going to kill me, but it keeps getting worse. Affects my pockets heavy, which is so many problems. ManBash, have you tried CBD oil? I'm going to sound really ignorant right now, but do they have it in Nigeria? If they do have it, I would check it out. It's not weed per se. It doesn't have THC in it, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I've heard that it does wonders for anxiety. I'm proud to say I got my first job in my field. I study communication and sports. Jamal, congrats on that. That's fucking dope, dude. All right, sorry, I'm like jumping everywhere right now. When I felt more alone, I just watched battles. Shotgun Suge mainly. I don't know why, but he gets me hyped. Also, Clips and Goods roasting people. Been a fan since 15, now 22. Anything that helps, right? Hell yeah, Emmett. That's dope as fuck, man. Also, just want to say thank you, Avo. It's got me through some tough times and made me feel less alone. These Ruin Your Hour things and made me feel less alone in my struggles with stuff. Paciver. Paciver. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. That's really dope. That's hella dope to hear. All right, Maddie says, if weed gives you anxiety, I promise you CBD helps. So Definitely not alone in thinking that. All right. One thing I've wondered for a while is why, since I decided to never drink, smoke, or do any drugs throughout my life, people made fun of me. But then when people get sober, it's such a great achievement. Yeah, I mean, I think basically the people that made fun of you for not drinking or doing any of that aren't correct. They shouldn't be making fun of you for that at all. I think that's a good idea for you to not do any of those in the first place if you knew yourself well enough. I think what you're probably running into is that people that have addictions and when they cope with them, people congratulate them because it's a struggle. For you to not even get into those things, it's good, but you're not really struggling not to do those things. So I think that's why people congratulate people that have addictions when they get sober. But congrats, His Royal Jazzness, on not drinking or smoking ever. That's fucking really tight, man. Yeah, I've never tried CBD. I actually want to get a lot of people that are close to me on that, even though I've never tried it. But I know a lot of people that I'm really close with suffer with anxiety, and I want to have CBD be an option for them. God's mystery. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Desi, that's amazing to hear. B. Floaty Artem. Gotta quit tobacco. That's amazing, man. Congrats. First step, dude. First step. That's a big one. Do you think political change could help tackle the mental health and addiction crisis in America? I think political change could help a lot of things, and I think that's probably one of them. Mental health. I think nowadays with the advent of the internet being so widespread and us able to share so much, I think we're like getting to the root of a lot of things where like back in the day, before the internet was around, mental health was kind of scoffed at, especially depression and other issues. Rampant alcoholism was kind of just a thing. Like men were just alcoholics. Like it was just a thing to be an alcoholic. Yeah, men drank. You drank as a man. And nowadays I feel like it's so much better that we have these tools to share information, that the global conscious is kind of getting more refined, and we're discovering these things out about like depression, anxiety, and also learning to like be kind with ourselves about having those things. You know, like I even remember like when I was growing up, like learning that somebody was depressed, it was almost like like their like handicap or something. It was like something to like put somebody down for. And nowadays I feel like everybody can come out and has the ability to say, I suffer from these things, and it's a thing that everybody can understand, you know, and work through together. So I think it's a great thing. But yeah. I used to drink to cope with it, but that didn't help. I found staying busy really helped me deal with it. I used to think it was BS until it happened to me. That's true. Jamal, appreciate that, dog. Nine planets. I smoked weed every day ritually for 10 years, and I finally stopped by literally not purchasing weed. Don't put it around yourself at all. It's a good first step. Taking like the addiction out of your household is definitely a good first step. It's pretty amazing, man. Yeah, Brock, that's rough, man. That's really rough. Yeah, Christopher, I also find that really funny when people like use the word social justice as like an insult. Like it's insulting to be like we want justice for everybody socially. Like I don't know why that's insulting at all. Think it's kind of just self-evident. But yes, you're right. I'm glad that the global conscious is coming around a lot more. Henna, she says something, and this is something that I kind of want to talk about because I've been kind of like in a weird. I've been in a really bad place recently, to be honest with you guys. I've been like really, really sad about my ex-girlfriend and us not being together. Been struggling with that a lot recently, and yeah, it's been really rough. It's been terrible. It's like one of those things that like everything you do, there's a tinge of sadness underneath it because you'll think about that person and you kind of get in a low spot. But Hannah wrote something that I wanted to talk about. I can't underestimate the power of positivity. I found doing something positive for others when I'm feeling low can really be uplifting, and 100% fucking agree with that. I've felt so much better after doing this show, after coming out and talking about being sober, about doing the Meals for a Meal. I'm in the process of looking into starting a nonprofit to help with the homeless situation happening in Los Angeles. And yeah, being doing something good and of service for people is the number one thing that will make you feel better about yourself as a human and will ultimately affect anything you're going through. Like I'm dealing with heartbreak, and I've been dealing with it for the past year, and it's been really tough for me, but I'm also not trying to like replace heartbreak with positivity. When I feel really bad, I feel really bad, and I just allow myself to feel and sort of like, learn how I feel, learn like what's unreasonable for me to feel. Like a big thing for me is to not resent my ex-girlfriend, and I have zero resentment towards her at all. I'm just in a stage of sadness and of deep heartbreak. So learning to kind of navigate your emotions and feeling them rather than like nullifying them and replacing them with positivity is really important. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like that's a really, really good point. Sunday, come on, man. We're here. The floor is here. Metal Mickey, I'm not going to lie, I'd be afraid to date because I know I'm not a player type. I like committing to one and going about my business, but in the dating market, so much games. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know too much about dating. I've been in a lot of serious relationships, but I've kind of never really been also like you where I like to date around. Like I've never really enjoyed that. And it seems like nowadays especially there's a lot of that going on. I can only speak of what I know, but I know that like every one of my homegirls that I talk to that are dating in Los Angeles, they all say the same thing, that nobody wants to commit. They all think there's something else better out there. Thank you, Nine Planets. Appreciate that, man. Maddie, thank you, dog. Joel, that's crazy. So did you guys better for the right reasons? I feel like, man, I was with my partner for 9 years. I'm only 25. I have one child together. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but definitely doing this and doing other stuff has definitely helped a lot. That's for sure. Oh, Joel, that's really heartbreaking to hear, man. See you later, Rap on Point. Peace out, man. Thank you, Augustin. I feel that way about losing my wife. It's much worse because we have a kid involved, so we still see each other. We try to maintain the friendship aspect, but it's definitely hard. Too much pain in our past. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm friends with her still. I talk with her every week, if not like every other day. I've been seeing her like every week too. Desi, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And you know, obviously, I'm still in love with her, so I love being around her and I love her presence. And it's not painful to see her. If anything, I really enjoy seeing her, and if anything, I've like fallen more in love with her this time being away, especially with the growth that she's gone through and the growth I've gone through. I think it's like done something special. But I don't know, just like the future is like, I don't know if there's gonna be a future together. She's dating now, so that's like something that's like I've had to kind of like go through and struggle with. It's like not felt good. So yeah, it's rough. Heartbreak's really rough. But yeah, for sure. The good thing about that too is it's like through all this, it's not really driven me to drink or do anything. Like I'm not done any of, like I was an alcoholic, I was a sex addict as well. Like I'm not really delved back into any of my addictions throughout this thing of like feeling really low. And I feel like it's given me a lot of strength going through this and knowing my emotions and how much it hurts and like living with the pain rather than trying to nullify it and be like, oh, I'll just go do a bunch of crazy shit right now and feel better for like a moment. And really learning how to navigate myself and knowing myself better, that's helped me stay sober. Jay, I walked away from a relationship of 11 years. She ignored her mental health. You aren't wholly responsible for saving partners. Stay up, Avo. Thank you, Jay. That is incredible, man, that you had the strength to do that for sure. That's impressive. I mean, to be completely transparent with you guys, I wasn't trying to save her. She was trying to save me. I mean, I was an alcoholic. I was a sex addict. I was doing a lot of really, really terrible things to her, like traumatic, absolutely horrible things. I know a lot of people like think I'm a good person, but there's a lot of times that I look back on the things I did to the person I loved the most in this world, and I don't feel like I'm a good man at all. But I know that that was a different person, and I know that I've like, I'm guilty of those things. I'm not ashamed of the things I've done because I've come to terms with what I've done and forgiven myself at least, and learned to work on the root of those problems. So yeah, I mean, but the good thing is like, you know, even though like this breakup has been the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and it's also been the best thing that ever happened to me in my life because it pushed me to be sober, pushed me to like really understand myself as a person more, and really work on myself a lot to this day. And I feel like I'm never going to be done working on myself. And I feel like that mindset wouldn't have been possible if I didn't break up with my ex-girlfriend. So, yeah. Yeah, Christoph, I agree. I figure you realize this, but your growth of character through this process will give you something for the rest of the life. So it was all for something, even if it is painful. Totally agree, man. Totally agree. I would not trade our breakup for anything in the world because I'm really proud of where I am, and I'm really happy that she is finally happy. You know, she wasn't happy with me, so I'm absolutely over the moon that she's happy now. I would give anything for her to be happy. So, of course, I would like break up with her for that. Jay, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we definitely hold ourselves accountable for things. And that's something that I actually struggled with, was not holding myself accountable for things. And that's why I was in the throes of drinking a lot and doing a lot of crazy stuff. And I wasn't held accountable ever. You know, and then when finally my relationship ended and I was forced to break up with my ex-girlfriend, then I was finally held accountable. Amy, I want to bring this up, see if anybody in the chat could talk about this as well, because I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this. Quan, I appreciate that, man. What advice would you give somebody trying to figure out how to forgive themselves? I would say that like I've done some absolutely deplorable things in my lifetime, like really, really terrible things, really horrible stuff, especially in my past relationship. I'll eventually probably tell you guys what happened. I'm not really comfortable talking about it now, but I did a lot of really terrible things that I never thought I would do. I wasn't physically abusive, but I was extremely abusive in other ways. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of times that I think about what I did and I think, how could I have ever done that? That's like so, like sometimes I almost think that I'm gonna wake up sometime and be like, that was a nightmare. That wasn't me that did that. Even though I did it for so long and it was almost normal when I was doing it. It was like, whatever. But now my mindset has changed so much and like I've had so much growth in the past year that I could not even think of doing the things I did in the past. So I think that's how I personally have come to forgive myself for things that I've done, is that I know that I am now a growing individual, and those things that I did in the past, I didn't have the same tools to learn why I did those things. And now I learned the root of them and I know where they come from. And just knowing that you're constantly growing, that sometimes in life you do things that are impulsive. I do things every single day that are wrong. Every single day I do something that I'm like, I shouldn't have done that, but I learn from it. And that means that I'm going to be less wrong the next day or less wrong continuously. So, just finding out ways to be less wrong in the future about the things that you want to forgive yourself for. So, so yeah, that's how I personally have forgiven myself for things that I've done, especially my past relationship, that I am still guilty for. Like I still think they're wrong and terrible, and I feel really guilty for them, but I'm not like shamed for them for myself. I know that was almost a different person that was doing those things, and I know that I'm not that same man anymore. So I don't know if that helps you at all, Amy. I hope it does. Boom, boom, boom. Acceptance plays a huge part. The pressure from it is dangerous. I encourage everyone, including myself, to be honest. Yeah, acceptance is really, really difficult for sure. And that's the first part of change, 100%. Accept that you've made mistakes, own up to them, realize you can't change the past, but that you need not to do them in the future. Others will judge you enough. Also, another thing to bring up that I thought was cool, I don't know if it was from that Emotional Empathy book or I just got done reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. It's really good as well. But the concept of the past not being real, and the only way we can make the past real is through memories. So the only thing that's real is right now. This is real. The past is not real. It happened, but it's not real currently. The only real thing is the moment that's happening currently. The future isn't even real. You can plan for the future, but I thought that was an interesting idea of like memories being the way you can constantly make the past real as well. So that was cool. Negative coping mechanisms become habitual. It would take a lot of intentional, uncomfortable decisions over time before you can break a bad habit. Brock, appreciate it, man. Good luck with everything, man. You should post your Twitter one more time for anybody that wants to DM Brock. It's amazing to see you in here, man. You're such a strong human being. Positive energy with yourself, dog. Yeah, Desi, that is like a Buddhist mindset for sure. Avo, have you ever dealt with depression or stress-induced misanthropy? Like you realize it's not others' fault, but get mad at others having it better than you. Any advice? Are you talking about like envy? You're envious of other people being in a better spot than you? I mean, I kind of am. I guess I've kind of experienced that in the past. I mean, the only thing I'm kind of like nowadays sort of jealous of, because it's like I'm getting older and I really wanted to have kids with my ex-girlfriend. So I'm like 35. I'm going to be 35 this year. And the window of having children is like closing to a degree. So I kind of like get jealous like when I hear people like that are my homies like getting married and having kids. That's when I kind of like, I'm like, fuck, I was just there and it's my fault that I'm not there anymore. But the thing is, it's just like learning that where you are is where you are, and you're here for a reason, you know, and you're supposed to be no other place than right here, right now, and you can only do what you do with what you have. That's actually a TDR quote. Let me read that off. Let's see, because I wrote down this quote. I really liked it. Maybe it was emotional empathy quote. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt, doing what you can with what you have where you are. Thought that was a cool quote. Wise guy, any recommendations for dealing with lack of self-actualization, work, education, love, life, not where you want to be? Yeah, I mean, I think the best advice for that type of thing is that there's no rush to be at the end goal right now. A lot of people are unhappy with their jobs. A million people are. The fact is that a lot of people are going to be unhappy with their jobs. Not everybody is going to be in a dream job where they're like flying across the world to save people and making millions of dollars and having like perfect relationships, because that stuff is very, very hard to get and it's very slim. So I think really finding good things in your life and learning to appreciate the good stuff that you have is super important. Like, you know, where I'm at right now, it's like obviously like my heartbreak takes over a lot of my life because I let it. But when I don't let it and I think, oh, the only thing I really have to make me really sad is that I can still see my ex-girlfriend and be good friends with her, and she'll listen to me whenever I call her, even about like me being sad that we're not together, and we're like great friends. If that's all I have to be sad for, I have a wonderful life. You know, I like have a great job that I love. I film battle rap. I'm like super, super passionate about it. I'm really good at it. I can go to the gym like for 4 hours a day. I can go to the beach whenever I want. You know, obviously I'm super blessed in my life, but I think looking at your life and being like, okay, what do I have that's good? Like, I'm healthy. I have friends that I care about. I have family. You know, I have a job. I'm actually getting paid. I'm not homeless. Like, learning to like count your blessings, I think, is really important and really undervalued for appreciating your quality of life. Jay, always take pleasure in the simple doing of things. Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, Mike Myers. It did. It totally did. Artesian, that's the best advice ever right there. Fall in love with the process, not the results. Totally agree. That's the best like way to like really start enjoying life and how it is. It's the process of life is super fun. Like, you don't ever just get to the finish line like, man, this is where I like needed to be. You know, it's like not like you go throughout all your life and then retire, and then the retirement is your life. You know, it's like your life was the thing, was raising your children, was getting to the point of falling in love and getting married, was finding a job, was training for the marathon, not finishing the marathon. The training part was like the enjoyable part, you know? I think loving the process sometimes is hard, but really enveloping that mindset I think is really important. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, man. I agree, man. I know that, through all this, I've learned a lot, and I know that I'm developing the tools to be a better person. Super grateful for that. 100%. The joy of accomplishing something is the chase, and if in the end it's bittersweet when you get there, but then you have more stuff lined up. That's true. The process about training for a marathon really been resonating with me lately. That's dope as well. I'll read you guys some quotes. So I know last week or maybe the week before I talked about this book I read called Emotional Empathy. If you guys haven't got it, go check it out. It's really good. So since I've been flying everywhere for battle rap, this weekend is actually my first weekend that I'm not somewhere else. I'm actually in Los Angeles this weekend for the first time in 6 weeks. So that's incredible. I went to Tampa, Philly, Orlando, San Jose, Charlotte, and Boston. And near the end, I was like, I'm on all these long plane rides. I should start reading books and try to finish a book on to and from the destination. So when I went to Boston, I actually read this book. Going to Boston, I read the whole book going there, so it's a really short read. I was super proud of myself because I'm still a very amateur reader. But it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's written by this guy, Mark Manson. It's hella good. It's like one of the best sellers, so any bookstore will have it at the airport or anywhere else. It's really dope to kind of piggyback off what we've been talking about nowadays, but I just kind of want to read a couple quotes from this, see if you guys will dig it. If you guys have been following me on Twitter, I've been posting a lot of these quotes because I feel like a funny thing is also if you see me posting quotes about like some positive shit, it's most likely I'm really sad. And I kind of use my sadness to like, I'm like, okay, let's post something good to like make other people feel good. So that's kind of funny. The biggest thing I'm struggling with is that I'm feeling kind of alone on my journey. I'm blessed to have a couple people in my life making strides, but most people think my growth path is crazy as fuck. I mean, you're like, yeah, for sure. Being alone in your journey is pretty rough, man. It's definitely rough to feel like you're like the only one fighting for yourself. Definitely empathize with that. But let me read some quotes. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I posted this and I thought this was a really good quote. The desire for a more positive experience is in itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is a positive experience. I thought that was a really, really dope quote. The avoidance of suffering is a form of suffering. So if you're constantly avoiding suffering, making all these strides to like never suffer again, you're kind of suffering for that. Thought that was dope. Happiness is not a solvable equation. Dissatisfaction and unease are inherent parts of human nature and necessary components to creating a consistent happiness. Tight as well. Pretty tight. So all these quotes are dope. I love these quotes. I just like take a bunch of notes. Problems never go away. They just improve. Thought that was cool. Yeah, I mean, if you have motion sickness, you can just listen to the audiobook too. My friend Chris did that. It's hella dope. Okay, let's see. An obsession and overinvestment in emotion fails us for the simple reason emotions never last. A fixation on happiness inevitably amounts to a never-ending quest for something else. More, and usually you never feel satisfied. So I thought that the whole thought process also I thought was really cool about emotions fade, because emotions never last. Your happiness is something that's the most fleeting thing in the world, because you're happy one moment, then boom, you're sad the next. But then you won't be sad like in 2 hours. It's like emotions are like all waves. So I thought that was cool about emotions never lasting. They talk about the hedonic treadmill, working hard to improve our lives but never feel any different. So the hedonic treadmill is this thought process that it's kind of like, you're like, okay, once I get this raise, then I'll be happy. Once I make enough money to buy a boat, then I'll be happy. Once I get married, then I'll be happy. Once I get a family, then I'll be happy. And you're constantly running on this treadmill of getting to goals, but you're never going to be happy, because once one goal gets notched off, you're on to the next one. Thought that was cool. Everything comes with an inherent sacrifice. Whatever makes us feel bad will inevitably make us, whatever makes us feel good will inevitably make us feel bad. It's totally true. Like if you were putting this in perspective with me, my breakup makes me feel horrible, but at the same time makes me feel really good. So, and then boom, this is what we were talking about earlier. Love the process, not the destination. Pleasure is not the cause of happiness, but rather the effect. If you have values and good metrics, then pleasure will come naturally. Thought that was dope. Thought that was dope as hell. But yeah, you guys should pick up this book. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I tweeted this. This quote's really good too. We don't always control what happens to us, but we do control how we interpret what happens to us and how we respond. Taking accountability for like how you respond to things is really good. There's like a quote that is in emotional empathy that also kind of piggybacks off that. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies growth and freedom. So, like, it could be as simple as like road rage when you're driving and somebody cuts you off, and immediately you want to honk your horn and like flick them off and like get in front of them and show them how mad you are. And if you just for a second just pause and let the guy cut you off and be like, it's just driving. At the end of the day, he's not doing it because he's like pissed at me, and even if he is like doing it because he's saying fuck you, like who cares? Like, it's just driving at the end of the day. So I thought that was cool about learning to live in the gap between stimulus and response instead of just going from stimulus to response every time. So I thought that was dope. That's funny, was it? That's really funny. One thing I would recommend is working on the mindset. Search inwards to have a better outwards. It's an extension of how your mind is. Yep, totally agree. Practicing mindfulness is hella important as well. Alrighty guys, that's been an hour. If you guys would hit up Brock when you can. I think it's really important to keep this community kind of going. Everybody that's in here, I've seen you guys a couple times, so I appreciate everybody really following suit of being really positive in here and being open to hearing other people's problems and not just wanting to vent for themselves. So I think you guys are all fucking awesome. I appreciate every one of you guys. And yeah, I can ask a couple last questions. Enigmatic ecstasy, peace out. But yeah, that's ruining an hour. Momentum TV, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, hopefully I will read another book and I can have some more quotes to talk about next week. But yeah, guys, love you guys all. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And I hope this session gave you guys something to think about. Hopefully it gives you something to work through. Hope you guys got some good combos in with each other. And I'm still kind of thinking about starting another Facebook group for this solely. I don't really know if it's a good idea to do Ruin an Hour as like another Facebook group, but I've been thinking about it, so I might do that. But until next time, guys. Also, I might be going live and doing a watch with Kid Twist tonight. He's going to crash at my house for a couple of days, so we might go live. And then tomorrow, I'm doing a watch with Oops again. So I will see you guys later. Love y'all. Stay up. Have a good day.